Hi folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. I want to tell you about what just happened to me a day ago. I had traveled down past Saratoga. It's actually a place in Ballston Spa. Coming back home, been driving all day. I get to Seavey's Corners and stop in to get gas and get a cup of coffee to keep me awake until I can get home. And I hear somebody call out, "Hey, Donnie, what you doing up in this area?" And I turned around and I recognized a fellow fisherman that had fished some of our tournaments. And he says, "I got to tell you something. I was out fishing," I guess he said yesterday or whatever, but it was within the last couple of days. And we were fishing down by Clayton or Alex Bay. And he said, I was using a drop shot. And I ended up, we were fishing for bass, of course. And he says, I ended up catching this massive walleye. He says, it turned out to be 30 inches long and over 13 pounds, and he registered it with the Canadian government. Maybe it was in Canadian water, I don't know, for an award or the biggest fish, one of those type of things. But what was really interesting to me was, how was he fishing? A lot of times people won't tell me because they want to keep it a secret because they don't want somebody else to catch that fish that they're going after. But in this case, he said, well, we were fishing in 26 feet of water, and I was using a black drop shot bait, and this thing hit, and he said it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I said, well, did you catch anything else doing this? And he says, oh, my gosh, we caught over 60 bass in the same area, this 26 feet depth of water they were fishing. And I said, any other walleyes? He said, no, just this one massive walleye. And I guess it told me a number of things, and I want to share them with you. Number one, right now, if you can go out, fish 26 feet of water and catch 60 bass, that's pretty spectacular fishing right now. And as I say right now, each day it can change. Once that water temperature starts going down and down, it's going to change the location of everything. Weeds are going to start dying out, and you need green weeds, not dying ones that turn brown, but green weeds is a form of protection, of structure that they orient around in oxygen. So things can change really quickly right now. But to hear this story, I think it's fantastic. And to know, yeah, there's huge fish out there. But what it also tells you is a lot of times in these areas, and I've talked about this before, but smallmouth bass and walleyes will be in the same area. They'll be feeding in the same way. And it's often a bonus. You know, guys, a lot of guys, if they're in tournaments, they don't want to catch a walleye. And if they do, a lot of times they'll bring it into us, wherever we're holding that tournament, and we'll have kind of a fish fry or something, or one of the people that's there might like a walleye. But normally, that isn't the fish they're after. So it's in that case, it's a bonus. For somebody like me, or maybe you, go out in the water, you're happy to catch anything. And so if you can get to a place using the same kind of bait and catch both bass and walleye, well, that's just a banner day. And drop shots they're a terrific way to go. And remember, drop shot baits aren't big baits. They're normally 3 or 4 inches, and they're made to just flutter in the water right where those fish are suspended, usually suspended. And that's one of the best ways to fish the St. Lawrence River. But it's also one of the best ways to tag into one of the trophies, like that 13-pound walleye that my buddy caught. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.